I'm Brad Wood with Northwoods Falconry, and I'm here with you to talk about hoods and hooding. And a lot of what we're talking about here in just a few minutes is discussed at length on this DVD that is 6 hours of instruction here on all sorts of falconry equipment. So you can pick this up from Northwoods Falconry, and I guarantee you it's not hilarious, but you'll find a few funny things and you'll learn a lot. And I want to talk to you about hoods and hooding. Briefly, I've practiced falconry for 50 years, since I was a wee little kid. And hooding is one of the neatest things about falconry. So if you don't hood now, or you're just getting into it, or you're an old hat to it, there's always something new you can learn. Right up front here, I just had to bring a few of my collector's hoods. If you've been a falconer for 5 to 10 years or 50, I guarantee that 90% of you will have a hood collection. So I have a hood collection gathering dust in my office. Don't know, I love to look at them once in a while. Here are some of the most interesting. Here's a squirrel tail hood. I think that was made by Gary Brewer, the squirrel champion of the world. And that's in my collectors. So that is a squirrel tail that he caught. Here's a hood made out of polycarbon, or some kind of almost a plastic material. This was brought on the market years ago, and I don't think I've seen it since. So that's interesting. Hand painted inlay, beautiful artwork on this particular hood. There are blogs and there are discussion groups with hood makers. Look at that one. It's beautiful, looks like some kind of a ostrich. That might be ostrich or some other type of lizard. This is one. Look at that one. That is a copy of a Frank Beebe hood. Frank is deceased, but he invented this thing where you press on it and it would open up the back of the hood. So you didn't have to use your teeth to pull the braces shut. Unfortunately, it never caught on, but I am sure when Northwoods Falconry gets this perfected, you're going to see it, maybe in 10 or 20 years. The other one, here's an Arab style hood. It closes on the back, unlike the Dutch style. They're on the market. You can pick them up fairly inexpensively. You can pick up a higher quality one like this from Northwoods. This is a high quality Arab style hood that will fit most of the birds of prey used in falconry. And here's one of my favorites, a stingray leather hood with eyepieces made of tanned stingray leather. The reason is they are like impervious to scratching. They're beautiful. If you see a close-up of that, I mean, falconry is art, falconry is visual and tactile, and this is just extraordinarily beautiful. Look at the paint. This is lizard skin from lizards that are legally harvested and skinned and tanned. Again, lizard skin is scratch proof, not snake skin. If you get a hood that looks like this, it could be snake skin, it'll rip right up. So hoods are an art form, but we're here in a short time. I gotta have a hood that fits my bird. If it doesn't fit, it's worthless. Or you can just hang it up in your cabinet as a looky-loo type thing. So we're here, we want a hood that is going to fit. Now maybe some of these fit, some don't. I brought my box of hoods. This is just some of them. I usually have 100 hoods laying around the office because I might need one for an apple monofalcon or a merlin or a big female gyrfalcon. So I have 100 hoods at my disposal at all times. Every serious falconer or rehabilitator, if you've been doing this very long, you need to have a bucket of hoods. And Northwoods will help you with that, but you don't have to do it all at once. You should acquire a complete set of all the sizes. There could be 30 sizes. And these are hoods that have been around for 20 years. And I use them every year. So that's my bucket of hoods. It has Anglo-Indian hoods and Dutch hoods. Today, I'm going to show you how I fit a hood. When you buy a new hood, whether it's Northwoods or any other falconry store, shop, eBay, you're going to need to very likely fit that hood to your bird. It's going to come, if you put that hood on, here's one right here. This is a Northwoods hood. If you put this hood on your bird without fitting it, it will cause sores on the bird's gape, on its skin, and it will learn to hate hooding because it's rubbing and making them feel badly. So a beautiful hood like this needs a little bit of work. Here's one exactly like it. This is one that fits my bird, and we'll show you it going on her today also. So look, they're together. We flare the beak opening, making it broader and making it real soft. It's like when I get up in the morning, I want to step into my sheep fleece lined slippers. And when I do that, I go, ah, the day will be good. But if I were to step into some hard, cold tennis shoes or something getting out of bed, that wouldn't feel very good. So the analogy is when you put that hood on your bird's head, you want it to be just the best feeling ever to that bird. Not to make it hate you and the hood. And they will hate you because you did it. So there's one that's used. There's a new hood. This has been worked on. The birds scratch the eyepieces. This is one of my favorite hoods. I think it was made by Jason Reed, a great hood maker. There are excellent American hood makers. They're all over the world. And this one probably took him 4 hours. He sews it by hand. Lots of work. This is Gore-Tex or some other similar material for the braces. So a hood is like a glove or your shoe. It forms to you, and even if the hood is looking grungy or a bit shoddy, boy, if it fits, it is worth its weight in gold. So it's not got to be a pretty hood, it's got to be a good fitting hood. And Northwoods Falconry sells the Anglo-Indian, they sell the Dutch hood, and they sell some really lightweight kangaroo micro hoods for the Apple-Mottos and Merlins. So how do we get our hood to fit? We just bought it, and let's see, I'm going to take this one. This is a Dutch hood. They're harder. They're molded on a block, often using water, and when the glue dries, the natural glues in the leather get really hard and make the leather stiff. These hoods are easier sometimes to put on because they don't crumple. The Anglo-Indian hood, here's a brand new one. These are beautiful. They've been around a long time. They're simpler to make. These fit very nicely, but they are a little softer and not as hard as a Dutch hood. So the first thing I'm going to do is, falcons have a broad cere compared to hawks, which are narrower for the most part. So when a new hood comes to you, it's often, it would fit on a red-tailed hawk nicely, but putting it on a gyrfalcon, it's not going to fit well at all. And so if we're going to put it on a falcon, so if I had this for a red-tailed hawk or a harris hawk, I might get away with it right off the bat. So the first thing I do is I'm going to wet it. Here's my little dippy bowl. Now I would go under the bathroom sink, the faucet, and just turn the water in. I'm gonna just stick that in there. Gee, I sure hope the owner of Northwoods doesn't mind this. I'm just gonna wet that hood, and I see it soaks it. It's soaking it inside. I want it soaked because I want it to loosen up. I want it to make that leather soft. Okay, and then the next thing I do, while it's soft, I take my finger. You can take, there's sometimes different rods you can use, but I use my finger, and I'm rolling it out. I'm opening it up. And when I get done here, I'm going to put it on my bird and see if it fits. You don't want it to see light, but you don't want it touching any of the skin of the bird. And so I've already, you can see that I've opened it up wider than it was, and this would fit a peregrine falcon or a gyrfalcon better. Now I'll do it again, and I can also just set that and let it dry, and it will stay in that shape. I'm not cutting it. Now if it still doesn't fit the bird's face, I might take an X-Acto blade. The problem with this thing is it'll not only cut you, but it can gouge as you're cutting. If it's not a new blade, or if you miss, you're going to gouge that hood if you're shaving it and ruin the hood. So this has to be very careful and use a fresh blade. But so that's one thing I do. So these hoods are made to clear the gape area. The gape meaning the skin along the beak. So the bird can throw up its pellet, its casting, through this hood. It can open up its mouth and throw up its pellet. It also doesn't touch the beak. So this is a special beak opening that Northwoods Falconry has chosen among many others. The other thing I do is roll that bottom piece out so it doesn't cut into the chin. If you could imagine wearing this, it'd be gagging you. So if you put this on your bird and your bird's acting like it's gagging and it doesn't settle down after a few seconds, then you need to work on the form of it. So I'm rolling out the bottom, very simple. The hood is wet. You can't do it when it's dry. And then I'm going to try it on the bird, or at least I'm going to let it dry. Now here is my, it's not a secret. I do have many secrets in falconry, and I don't charge for them. But this one is the Dremel secret, and I'm sharing it with you. I learned it from other falconers. You can learn a lot from being among other falconers. You can learn it on YouTube. But this is a Dremel tool. This is a big one. Probably costs $100. But the neat thing about it, I hope anyway, I can touch this with my finger. That's a spinning grinding wheel. I can stop it with my finger. If you have this hooked up to 110 volts, it will take your finger off. And so you want one that's battery rechargeable, and I can stop it. I can also adjust. That's too fast. I can turn it way down, and it's not going to take the bird's face off. Can you imagine that? And it's happened. I've watched seasoned falconers destroy their birds with a worse tool. So what do I do with this? I take it, a hood. Inside the hood, if you get a new hood, whoever made them, they're trying to pump out 100 hoods. They're smoothing that leather, but they may not be doing it very long. I'm going to take that, and that's what bugs your falcon or hawk the most, is that rubbing their skin. So I'm taking that. It's turned up. This is a little grinding wheel you buy with your Dremel tool, and I'm smoothing the inside. I don't see, this is better than an X-Acto knife because it doesn't take massive chunks out. If I slip, the thing's not flying into my face or gouging the hood. You can see little pieces. You make it really thin so that, again, like jumping into your best slippers in the morning, it feels so good on the bird's face. This is how you use the Dremel tool. You use it on a dry hood. If you have a wet hood, it won't work as well. But this will really, like if you put this on the hawk, there's its beak. If you put it on and you notice little black marks on the skin of the face that's where the hood is rubbing and there's some blood forming there. That's where you're going to want to skinny that down, to sand it down with the Dremel tool. So this is a great investment. They're smaller ones, but make sure it's portable so it can be stopped by your fingers. So that is how I use and form a hood, and it does all the world. So if you're brand new to hoods, this is something you need to pay attention to. Let me see if there's anything else in here that I wanted to show you. This is my box of hoods. Oops, I got my hemorrhoid cream in here. Wow, that's kind of embarrassing. Actually, I carry hemorrhoid cream all the time because I might rub it on my bird's feet. Why? It reduces swelling. And no, I don't use this daily, or on myself, but it is handy. So I just had that stuck in my hood box, hemorrhoid cream. Something to share with you. Let's throw that water out. And finally, not only do you want to have this in your library, but from Northwoods Falconry you can buy Making the Anglo-Indian Hood, which I filmed many years ago, and step by step, and also this one, Making the Dutch Hood. It's with Ron Rollins. So you should, if you're going to hood and be a good hooder, you should pick up these DVDs. And that is touching the surface of hooding, which goes back thousands of years. Thank you again. I'm Brad Wood at Northwoods Falconry.